Hey everybody, happy Sunday, good morning, good afternoon, or whatever it is. It's 4 o'clock in my time zone, but I know we've got people from all over the place, or hopefully. If there's anyone in chat just now, if you could just let me know if the audio and everything's okay, and we can get started. And if any of you don't know, hi, I'm Pam Duthie. I help you craft your career with needle felting tutorials, craft advice, and SEO selling advice. Excuse me, I'll admit again, I've got the dogs here again today because they were so good last time. And this is Mia coming in to say hello, featuring in a chat for the first time ever. Yeah, so hopefully the dogs are going to behave themselves, but it's better than dumping them out in the car. So we have doggies for today's live stream. Hi, Mac and Mercy. So sounds okay. We're up, we're working. So plan for today, we're going to have a little talk about SEO because I've got an amazing tip from a good friend of mine that hopefully it hit a light bulb in my head. So hopefully it'll help all of you guys a little bit as well. I wanted to talk about something I've actually had a whole load of messages on in the past few days, and also I've seen it in other places as well. It's just, why are sales down? Why is money down? Why is revenue down just now? And I just want to cover that. Some of you will probably have an idea of what I'm going to say already, but I know it's something that's worried a lot of people. And then we're getting into, there's a few shops that we want to be looking at, a few artists. Just to hopefully have a snoop at some more amazing work, because needle felting is such an awesome art form. There's so many great artists out there, so I just want to share some of the work that I've seen around the web. And a lot of this, if you're looking to get your shop featured, and yeah, cool to see my doggy. This is Meerkat McFuzzy Looks, who's giving me some right strange looks. She's saying, why are you talking to the computer? Yeah, so if you're interested in getting me to have a nosy at your Facebook page, and I've been getting a whole load of requests for people to help with their SEO, if you pop over to Pam Duthie's Felting Friends on Facebook, there's a couple of threads on there. You can put your details and I'll work through them. Because honestly, especially the shop reviews, that takes several hours, so I need a bit of time to work through them. There's only so many I can do at a time. You comfy there? Right, so first of all, to get started, as I said, a little thing with SEO, and it's something I've mentioned a few times, is basically not keyword stuffing your title. You'll all have seen shops do it, and places like Wish and all the cheap rubbish internet sites. And a title, rather than telling you what the item is, it has a whole ton of like keywords just all smashed together into the title. So instead of like a black jumpsuit, it's a black cotton jumpsuit, black night out clothing, and the title is just, it makes no sense at all. And I've mentioned a few times why this isn't a great idea, but my friend Nico at Morning Fame came out with a fantastic video that just explains it in such a way that I hope it makes sense to everybody. Oh, Samantha Jane. Oh, thank you so much. That's so kind of you. You don't sell on Etsy just now, but you love love the videos. That's great. And it is actually a point I've really wanted to make quite a lot to everybody, is that if you're going to be on the internet at all doing anything, I've actually found learning SEO has been such an important thing. It carries over to everything. So the little of what I learnt to start my first website has been able to carry over, and it's helped me a lot with Etsy. And then what I learnt on Etsy, I'm applying that to YouTube, and each new thing that I move on to, I'm just doing better and better. Like, my YouTube channel has grown way more than I could have ever thought. And then I'm learning stuff from YouTube, because I'm going to tell you, this person, Nico, is a YouTube SEO person, but I'm taking his ideas and taking them back into my Etsy shop, and my Etsy's growing. So it all kind of ties in like that. Oh, we've got some more. Barb has started the Etsy shop Coral from the Sea. That sounds so cool. Barb, there's links in the comments to this, to my group, Pam's Felt and Friends, if you want to put up a link to your shop, and when we're done here, we can all, it's a really small, private, friendly group, but we can all help, and it's just nice to have a look at everyone's shop. And Pandar's Puppets, hi there, how you doing? Has everyone had a good week so far? Sales and everything been fine? And yeah, good end to January. It's been great here. I'll confess, I was out last night, not on the Randan. I helped my friend at a nightclub, so I was working on the door and not drinking. But at my age, it still takes it out of you a wee bit. So I have my coffee here, and if I slow down a bit in about 10 minutes, it's just because I'm exhausted. Anyway, let's get into this. As I said, I've talked about so many times not keyword stuffing your titles and why it's a bad idea. And firstly, because it makes you look cheap, it makes you look like your wish. But my friend Nico from Morning Fame has made this great video. I'm not going to play the full thing, but just to show you a wee touch. And this is fantastic because to explain what's going on, he's using his kitchen counter and a bag of rice, and it is fantastic. It's great fun, but it also makes so much sense. So I've put the link to this video. As I said, I'm not going to play the whole thing because you've got to go over and watch it. So in the description below this video, I've put the link to his video, and this will hopefully explain things a whole lot better about why when you're little and you don't have a whole lot going on, it's far more important not to aim for 7, 8, 9, 10 keywords, but aim for that one that you think you can rank for. Do well for that, and then when you grow and do a bit better, then we can spread our ranking power, and it'll make more sense when you watch his video, but then we can spread this ranking power over more terms. But to start with, definitely don't do the keyword spamming, but get over and watch him. And if you're at all interested in YouTube, I know a few people here are running YouTube channels. If you haven't started using Morning Fame yet, it is a really great tool. It's, in my mind, it's my equivalent of Etsy Rank, but for YouTube, but kind of even better. It has some amazing features. And Nico is there. There's Facebook groups where you can really interact with him. He's a good guy. There's also a link in the comments below for a free month's trial on this, but it's just got so many cool features. It's telling you what areas you need to work on to grow and giving you an idea. You get an email every time, a day after you've released a video, to tell you how well it's done compared to all your other emails. So I get a bit obsessed with watching out for that email. Right, Bad Wolf Designs, no sales yet. Oh, sadly, it takes a while, and January is a terrible time to get new sales. That's what I'm just coming into as well. What you've got to be looking at, all of us can really depress ourselves saying, like, on YouTube, oh, I've not had any subscribers. On Etsy, I've not had any sales. I've not had any of this. I need to do more. But these aren't things that we can influence ourselves. What we have to do is look at the stats and say, oh, I'd like to rank for this term. I'm going to work to rank for this term. I'm going to work to improve my pictures. I'm going to work to drive more views, or some. I say that, I don't mean like literally spamming things everywhere, but doing good practices to get more people to be able to see your items. These are things that you can influence yourself, so it's goals that are actually good to have. I know sales are the final thing, and we'd all like to say, oh, I want to have 200 sales this month or something, but that's just a kind of depressing goal. It's much better to say, I'm going to rank for 4 keywords and I'm going to improve these 2 little things, and then at the end of the month you can say, I did better than what I'd set for myself. And then what's going to happen is possibly you might not see the results in sales this month, but next month or 2 months down the line. I mean, I find if I put in a big blitz in the middle of the summer, then that means that my Christmas time is so much better. So you're thinking, doing work just now, we're pushing for the spring. Just going to check the chat. It's hard to keep up with it and talk. Pandra's Puppets is planning on doing live streaming. Fantastic. I have to tell you, you'll probably notice the difference that I might not be quite so composed in a live stream than I am in a recorded video, because the adrenaline is such a surprise. I know I'm just talking to a camera, but I'm aware that there's people here. I find that live streams are great. I've started watching a lot more of them because I used to hate it to start with. Someone starts talking and then they're off talking to someone else, and I really hated that. But then I've learned it is all about the community. You can actually talk to the person. You're like talking to the person on telly in real time, and it's actually so exciting. And that way, I would say, get yourself live streaming. If you, when I'm finished this, or if you comment on one of my videos again, I know you have done, but just so I can find your shop again, and then I'll get over and make sure that I catch you when you're live streaming as well, because I love watching the littler guys live streaming now, you know, like us, compared to someone that's got 2 million subscribers. When they live stream, the chat goes so fast and there's no talking going on so much. But I like the little guys. You can build a real community. Like, I can get to know you guys a bit better. So give it a go. It is, you know, there's going to be mistakes. I'm well aware, like, the video quality isn't as good as it's going to be in a proper recorded film, and that really annoyed me to start with. But then it is what it is. It's actually fantastic technology that I can be sitting streaming out to the world live. So if things go wrong, if I hit the wrong button or whatever, it's all cool. Was it Barb did a social media blast yesterday? Social media is so good if you use it the right way. They all catch up with us and it gets more difficult. Like 5 years ago, Facebook was so good for doing everything, and I still love Facebook and it's my main thing, but they're now really cracking down on posts where you've got external links, especially YouTube links. Facebook hates YouTube. So you'll see that you don't get to see all the posts that the people you're following put up. So it is a bit harder like that, but it is a great place to grow a community. And I'm on Facebook far too much. Like everyone, you're practically checking it all through the day on your phone. Samantha, when you put in your items and pics and all the specs, and then they get the product and don't like it, what do you do? Yeah, that really sucks. I do have some videos on how to deal with difficult customers and everything. What I will say, something I was going to talk about today, but I kind of didn't think I had time, but I'll bring it up anyway. I have sold over 1,000 little custom dog sculptures. And everyone said, you know, custom work is sort of the hardest for having difficult customers because they might not be happy with what you make. And out of the 1,000, I've always been able to make the customer happy eventually. They might not like it straight away, and I'm happy to do alterations. And that's perfectly okay. At the end of the day, I figure out what it is they're looking for, and they're able to explain so I understand that I can make it. But just last week I did have basically very much the feeling I got while I was making the item. He found another shop that he liked better, but he'd already paid me, so he was never going to be happy with what I'd made. And when I made it and he said basically, no, I'm not happy with that, and I said, okay, what's the problem? What were you expecting? You know, I can make changes. And he just messaged and said, I wanted it to look more like this. And he tagged in another artist's work. And I had to say, you know, that's not my work, you know. And there was a lot of back and forth. Now, my shop policies do say, you know, no refunds on custom work. And as I say, I have 1,000 happy customers behind me. But so I knew that I could fight this case and win it. And I took a lot of advice from people on Facebook. There's lots of really supportive groups. I knew I could fight this case and win it, but he's the other side of the world from me. So that would have involved me posting my item, which I would have had to put extra tracking and sign for, and video me putting it in the package in case he tried to do pull a fast one that way. And I knew he would probably refuse the package it would be sent to me. So I would have a month of him opening cases and us fighting. So to be perfectly honest, in that case, I decided for the happiness of myself, the best thing to do was actually just refund him. I thought about it. I was like, I don't want him owning one of my items. So yeah, there's 100 ways I could have thought that, but sometimes the best thing to do is you get your item back in your hand. You make sure you still have your item, and then you just walk away. It's not worth the hassle. Give them their money back. I know it feels rubbish, but well, that's a fraction of a percent of lousy customers I've had. Most of them are wonderful. I know it's really, really tough, but that one customer just drains so much energy from you that they're not worth it. And it's human nature. For every, like, you could have 20 fantastic reviews, 20 people telling you you're amazing, and you only hear the bad one. I had the same thing. It's funny, 2 in 1 week. But this week, well, I think it was last week, I also had someone on YouTube that I didn't really understand quite a lot of what she was saying, but she was clearly unhappy with my videos and what I was saying, and I had some less than pleasant things, and I was trying to answer her back. And then after a bit of while, I just thought, there's all these guys who say lovely things to me, and I'm putting so much energy and time into this person who doesn't like me. Not everyone's for me, not everyone's going to like me. So at the end of the day, I just decided, you know what? Let's not bother with them. And I hid her messages from my channel because I don't need to bring the rest of you down with that. And that's my advice, is do what you can to make people happy. But if it turns out, if they're just going to be the person that's sucking your energy, just walk away. They don't deserve your time. They're not paying you enough for that kind of nonsense. So I hope that helps a little bit. Barb sells vintage fossil coral. I love coral, and South Florida. I am so jealous of just anywhere that has sun and palm trees. Well, we have palm trees. There's a place in Scotland that has palm trees. They're very brave, strong, hardy palm trees. But I used to visit Blockton a lot when I was young, and it's a beautiful place. And if it wasn't really, really cold, it could be tropical. It's got palm trees, beautiful beaches, lochs, hills. It's a stunning place. But yeah, I wouldn't mind a bit of fun. Bad Wolf Designs, yeah, January is a slow month, and that's the great attitude. January is the time to build up stock again, to get your shop back in order. I mean, I have to be honest, I'm still catching up with my orders. I will be doing my review of what my month's been next week for January, and I know it's not going to be good because I've been doing nothing in my shop because I'm just catching up with the orders and answering the emails pretty much. I've done no SEO work at all because when I'm so busy, I don't want to be doing loads of work to bring in extra customers. My voice is so soothing. Thank you so much, Barb. It's the one I was born with, but I'm glad it doesn't offend people because there's very little you can do about your voice. Yeah, the customer didn't give me a bad review because I cancelled their order and refunded them. But one of the reasons I was thinking of fighting him was because he actually did threaten me. He said, you should give me a partial refund, else I'll give you a bad review. He actually said these words, which is something that is against Etsy's policies. And I could have fought him on that. And I was seriously considering it because I have enough good reviews that wouldn't hurt me. And I know some guys are really, if you're just new, the idea of a bad review just sounds so terrible. So I was sort of wanting to take a hit for the team there, but it just wasn't worth my energy. But the whole, don't fear a bad review too much. Firstly, don't answer it straight away. You've got a right to reply in the review section. Don't answer that review straight away, because if you answer it, then it's locked in. But if you think they were unfair or you think you can sort things out, contact them or contact Etsy and see if you can sort it out. But if you can't, just Now this is the thing, take a day to think about it, be professional in your reply, but reply with why you were unable to meet the customer's expectations. Because you know, when you're shopping yourself, you'll see every shop has a bad review or two, because you can't please everybody. So if you read through and the answer is something sensible that sounds compassionate and makes sense, then it won't put you off buying from them. If the reply to the review is some kind of screaming crazy response, the one that we all want to make, I want to do screaming crazy responses, but if you keep it professional, then people will want to stay, will be happy to shop with you. That one bad review won't hurt you. So don't be ransomed with the idea of bad review. I totally get and I totally see where it's a scary thought, but it's not going to hurt your shop as much as you think it will. Christina says January's been a great month for you. That's fantastic. I'm so happy to hear that. And I think January's not been too bad for me either. I do get some sort of carryover momentum from December, and it depends on what you sell as well. I mean, a wedding supply shop is probably going to do better at the start of the year than it's going to do at the end of the year, because people are looking for spring wedding things and stuff. You know, it depends what you sell. If you're mainly gifts, then obviously November should be the biggest month. But it doesn't. January doesn't have to be dead. People still shop. People still have birthdays, like me. So yeah, totally. It shouldn't be totally dead. Oh, Samantha, I'm sorry that customers like that have put you off selling, because honestly, I have found so many customers make me cry in a good way. A lot of my work is like custom pet portraits, and I find people are mailing me they've just lost their dog and stuff, and the messages I get when I get it right, it's really worth it. But just like me stepping away from the crazy customer, if it's taking up too much of your energy, if it's too stressful, it's not worth it. Do stuff that makes you happy. Do stuff that fills your energy up. You know, like, that's the reason I'm doing this. I don't know if it seems like it just now, but however long I'm going to come off here, I'm going to come off this kind of buzzing a wee bit. It is such a weird feeling to do live streaming. It's so surreal but lovely. Um, Samantha makes large felted items, and yes, it it is such a risk. Thankfully, I I mainly sell the quite little ones. I started doing that on purpose. I will have a video on that in the coming weeks. I've just been so busy. But basically, I sell the most of the really tiny sculptures that, I'm not saying they're not worth anything. They have a worth, but if one gets lost in the post, I can replace it without too much expense to me. Only expensive time, which, if it's not the last 3 months of the year, I tend to have a little bit more time than I do money. So that's fine. But yes, if I lost one of my large sculptures, I did once in the run up to Christmas, one of my large sculptures went missing, and I really worried about that, and there was no way I could copy it. So I refunded the customer, and this another story of how great customers are. The middle of January, she messaged me to say that it had finally turned up, and she wanted me to invoice her because she wanted to pay for it again. So I thought that was so honest. I would never have known. I would have just thought it was lost. But no, she was honest enough, and she wanted to pay for it, and she was happy with it. So I know I've been lucky. The other option, I used to have sculptures in a gallery up in the north of Scotland in Bewley, and that was much easier. You don't make quite so much money off them, but there's less work. I just took a load of sculptures into the gallery, and she sold them, and she gave me my money for them. So it's a little harder to get into, but that way you're safer, and you don't have to deal with customers. That's the gallery, that's the shop owner's problem. So it might be an idea, if you can, to get into something like that, to see if there are shops that'll take your items. Obviously with needle felting, make sure they're behind glass. How many items do I generally keep in my shop? Because quite a lot of my listings, I make sure my listings are mainly for custom listings, so I'm between about 200 to 300, but I'm probably going to cut that down a little bit. It's a good thing to have a lot, but too many that obviously there's going to be some that are top sellers and some that don't get seen at all. So I'm going to start going through trimming the fat and taking out, or at least changing the listings that don't get seen at all, pretty much. So I think for my work, 200 to 300 is probably a bit too much. I've probably only got about 20 ready-made ones because I've not, for about 18 months, I've not really had a chance to make items just for myself, just what I want. I'm usually working on custom orders, so I don't have many ready to go items at all. Oh, Samantha, if you want to send me a picture, absolutely. If you're on Facebook, Pam's Felting Friends, the Facebook group, which the link to is in the comments below. If you want to join up with that, then that's a great place to send pictures. It means I can get a look at them. We're a small group, but everyone's totally friendly and really supportive, and it's the easiest place for me to be able to send things. I found on my Facebook group, sending messages and stuff to the page, I really don't get to see them, and YouTube is absolutely terrible for telling me about messages. So Pam's Felting Friends on Facebook is the best place to get hold of me. Excuse me, coffee. Right, second section of what we were going to be talking about. That's good. Yes, I wanted to show you Cassandra's got a new video up, links to below, for all of her needle felters. Well, anyone who's kind of crafty, Cassandra Hall's YouTube page is fantastic. She's a YouTube friend of mine, and we've been working together a little bit because she got a needle felting kit at Christmas, and she's just starting needle felting using my tutorials, and we're working on a fun project together. But she's just put up her second ever felting attempt. She's filming everything as she goes along. If you didn't already see her first attempt, she was making a ball out of the supplies she got in the kit that she already had. But unfortunately this was one of these needle felting kits, and what they do, they give you terrible wool. Let's be honest about it. They give you the merino tops, which is horrible to felt with. So I suggested she looked into some carded bats, and kind people here pointed out what's the name of the Living Felt. That's it, because Cassandra's in America, so I'm not quite so up on the companies there, but I do know Living Felt. I should have thought of that. But she got herself some nice carded bats from Living Felt and had a go, and is doing fantastic. I won't show you it all again because you've got to get over there and have a look, but this is her having a look at her first shot with the actual carded bats, and then having a go at felting with it, and she's doing really good. And you'll notice that from the last video, Cassandra's doing a brave thing, is she's taking the little leather finger guards off. Now, I'm not going to tell anyone to injure themselves by taking protection off, because the needles are sharp and I do hurt myself sometimes, but I find it so much easier to felt when you can actually feel what you're doing, and you don't hurt yourself that much if you're careful. But anyway, she's done a fantastic job, and I'm looking forward to seeing where she gets to. So the link to her video is down in the description below as well, and also I'm going to make a wee playlist because I think that'll be fun, where you can see what my tutorial is that she was following, and then her following it, and you can see all the steps going along. I think this is great because I've never seen someone like right from first steps. It's so fun to see. So thank you for doing this, Cassandra. Mac and Mercy, do you think only having a few items can negatively impact sales? I recycle inner tubes and have 8 items. That sounds exciting, recycling inner tubes, and great kind of green things. If in the group you wouldn't mind putting a link to your shop and I can get over and see that. Yes and no to the having only a few items. If there are shops out there, I don't know if it's yourself as well, but there are shops out there that have such a following that literally they can list one or two items and they're gone in seconds. So these shops can't keep a big inventory, and they do fantastically well for the simple reason that Etsy rewards shops. Etsy rewards items that sell a lot because it makes sense. You want to put on the front page of search the thing that's most likely to make them money. So if you have a listing that you can keep on making, and so every time it sells it's going up again, and you know this one is very likely to sell, then Etsy's going to put it on the front page. So it doesn't matter what else is in your shop, Etsy's going to say, yeah, this one's a big ticket, this is important for us. So it makes us more money if we put it on the front page. And there also is how do I say it, there's a ratio that they also look at, and this is what I'm saying, this is why I'm going to trim down some of the items in my shop. If you have 10,000 items and are only making a couple of sales, compared to if you have 5 items and are making a couple of sales, the second shop has a better ratio. So Etsy will look at that and say, you know, this shop sells better for only having 5 items, it's selling nearly half of what it's got. So you'll get a wee boost that way. But you also have the benefit if you've got a lot of items. If you've got a lot of items with good SEO and a few good sellers and your shop's doing well, then a lot of items can help. I would say if your shop isn't doing as well as you'd like it to, 8 items probably isn't enough. And the main reasons for that is, as you'll see in some of my latest videos, we're talking about how each item can boost the other item. So if you're struggling to rank for something but you have a series of similar items, then they can also all help each other to get one to the front page, or even one or two, because declumping doesn't exist now, so you can get more than one item in the front page. And also it means if someone finds you in the search and they like what they see but they fancy something else, if they come to your shop and it has a lot of similar items and it has what they like, then they're more likely to buy, and they could buy 2 or 3. Whereas if you only have a couple of items and it just wasn't quite what they wanted, they might just go on to someone else. People are pretty lazy, and rather than contact you and ask you if they'll make what you want, they're kind of more likely to just see if they can find it. So more items can be better, but it's not necessarily, you know, it's quality and quantity. You've just started back after not working on the site for a while. It's something, every shop's different. I would say in the main, if you can get a few more items up, it will probably help you. But if you can get them up, you know, make sure and do them well, and also don't put them all up at once. So I don't know how long it takes to make your items, but putting up 1 item a day for in a little chunk, or putting up 2 or 3 items a week would be better than putting up a big chunk. And also it's finding strategic ways of making more listings without necessarily having more items in your shop. Excuse me. Like what I've done and going into having lots of listings for custom items. When I started, I mean, my sculptures were taking over a week each, and people were saying you need over 100 listings in your shop, and I thought, I don't know if I'll live that long to be able to make that many. So what I did was every time I made a listing, every time I made an item, I would list that as a ready-made item, but I would also list it as an example of a custom item. So it was like 2 for 1, so I could grow doubly quickly, if that makes sense. Barb, yeah, some yarn people sell out in minutes. Absolutely. Certainly some people, some shops just have such a following, and people are waiting to pounce the minute anything's listed, and that's what you want. That's the kind of following that would be awesome. But that's the 2%. you know, that's the people that are way up there. Unfortunately, most of us are the people somewhere in the middle that have to plug about and work hard, but we can get the results. That is the thing. Yeah, we're not likely to become Etsy millionaires. I would love that, but it's not likely to happen. But if we target our effort, we can get reasonable reasonable return for our investment, if that makes sense. But yes, it would be lovely to be that kind of people that sold out immediately. Right. What was I going to talk about? It's great to have. I'm loving having chat where I've got to think on my feet as well. This is awesome fun. So thank you so much for your questions, and yeah, keep them coming if there's anything that's been bothering you. Yeah, so I said, so we covered kind of briefly, but I just wanted to talk some more. I've had actually quite a few messages, people asking why sales are down. I mean, 4 or 5 people this week alone have messaged me with almost the panic of, is something terrible happening to Etsy? Even some big shops are saying their sales are down. And as we've said, it's January. You know, the problem a lot of people have is comparing last month to this month. And I know it sounds crazy, but yeah, December or November for many shops will have been higher and January might be lower. What you want to do at the most is compare this January to last January. And if you don't have a last January, this is just your peg in the sand. You know, anything's good. You're just giving yourself some stats and just work on being a bit better. And it's exactly the same. The YouTube people, so many people are commenting and saying their ad revenue's down. And this is exactly the same. And it's the same for bloggers or anyone else if you rely on advertising money. In the run up to Christmas, advertisers chuck money at things. They pay so much more for adverts. And now they're out of money. So probably when you're watching a YouTube video or you're on a blog and you see an advert, you're going to see about 20 of the same advert. I know some people have been saying, talking about the YouTube Red adverts up a lot. And that's not really YouTube trying to push everything. That's just, there's no other advertisers paying very much, and that's the one that slips through the most now. So yeah, ad revenues are down. The amount of people shopping everywhere, you know, in bricks and mortar stores, online, the amount of people who are actually shopping just now is down. That's not to say it, as we can see, some people do still do okay, some people do not bad, but you know, there's less people looking, so it depends what you're selling. But yeah, don't panic if for a month or two everything's down. Look at it compared to last year and look at your stats over a year. You know, that's what I'm always looking at, is like, can I beat last year? Not, oh, today was terrible. Today doesn't matter. This week, if it was a bit rubbish, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. I've got to look at the big picture. Okay, so let's drool over some needle felters. And I put this up in the groups. So Michaela isn't in our group, I don't think, just now, but she posted this in some other groups. The Needle Felting UK page, which I totally love, is really supportive and friendly. I know a few of you are in both the groups, which is great. But I just had to share this, like share this everywhere, because this just is amazing. I don't know if you've all seen this work before. Right, excuse me, I'm just about waking up now. Michaela's foxes are fantastic, and in the Needle Felting UK group she's also got a picture of her armature with just the core wool on it, and it's amazing even at that stage. But I think these foxes are just something else. Just the character, it's like everything's right, the pose, the direction, colour of the fur, the expression, and just I can see in the fox that's doing the licking, like my girl does that little face when she's trying to sort of beg my boy to give her to give her the bone that he was chewing on or something. It's not necessarily the friendliest. It's kind of like, hi, I like you, now get out of my way. But such expression, and I am in awe. Aren't they beautiful? I would love to get my hands on them or see them in real life. I'll have to find out how much her sculptures are and maybe maybe treat myself one day. But yeah, there's nothing I can say that isn't just like amazing. Um, oh, and Barb's asking about boosting posts on Facebook. Yeah, this is something I did a few years ago because I'm sure everyone that's got a Facebook page, Facebook constantly is coming out with your post's doing better than 90% of your other posts. We're giving you £10 to boost it. And I did one time, I think I spent a fiver or a tenner boosting a post. And there was probably some free in there as well. But I spent some of my own money on advertising a post. I've done it a couple of times. You know, you select your audience. It's quite easy to do. You select your audience, your demographic, where they stay, their ages, everything like that. And you start the ad campaign going. I think you tell it how long you want it to run and how much to spend per day or something like that. And what I found, the statistics you get, I didn't find there was very much use in the statistics. And also, to be honest, I think at the time I had a post before that I hadn't boosted that got over 2,000 impressions, and the post after it got about 900 impressions, and the one I paid for got about 400 impressions. And I got that kind of both times, that for some reason the post I boosted did worse than just me promoting the post, you know, in groups and advertising it myself, you know, talking to friends about it. But something else, a big YouTube guy, Daryl Eves, he does a lot of advertising and SEO. He actually was involved in the advertising campaign for the Squatty Potty, apparently, if you haven't seen that. But he does a lot of work on a lot of different things. And what he's said, he's found, is that Facebook advertising seems to kill organic growth. So you could have a post that's doing really, really well and seeing a lot of people. You advertise it and it does what they tell you it's going to do, and some people will see it. But the second the adverts go off, that post is dead, whereas it might have continued to be good if you hadn't done it. So it makes sense. They want you to spend a bit of money, but to me, I've not heard many people say with just spending a small amount of money they do well. People who are spending hundreds of pounds and keeping a campaign going, yeah, you can do well. It just depends how much you've got to spend on advertising. But with anything, with advertising, I find it so hit and miss as to whether it's good. Quite often you spend a lot more than you get. The long-term exposure, the momentum might be worth it, but I've not found Facebook ads to be worth it. I might revisit it again in the future. I mean, they seem absolutely desperate for me to use them just now. I think every other day I'm getting a message from them saying they're trying to give me a tenner to advertise, but I'm just wary after hearing that from Daryl Eves that it kills organic growth dead, because organic growth is what we want. This is your followers liking something and then their friends seeing it and liking it. You know, that I would possibly, if you've had a post that's done kind of well and it's already getting quiet, but it has been doing well with new people liking it, and you've got a bit of money to spare, then it's maybe a good time to experiment once it's already kind of dying off, to maybe give it a bit of boost, if that makes sense. Right, whose shops are we at? I think Bad Wolf to start with, and I do remember you from, oh, I've got my, hang on. I do remember you from posting your Doctor Who pictures. They were absolutely fantastic. That is so much work. She made in the past. You can see at the profile profile picture here, our new female doctor and a TARDIS all needle felted, which I think was awesome. Sorry, loud of talking. So let's nosy into the photos. It's because I've got a split screen here. I was trying to find out where to scroll. And here is, in the group we have already drooled over this lovely, trying to see if I can show the stages of the dog, but an actual braver than me and drawing directly the sketch of the dog onto the fabric. As you can see in my videos, I totally cheat and I use an iron-on pen. I wish I could draw as well as this. Already a beautiful sketch of the dog, and then they're starting to felt it, and I just love the eyes. The eyes make a piece, and that's absolutely beautiful. And especially the spaniels, their big soulful eyes. I think that's lovely, and the light she's captured in it is beautiful. And then the final wee doggy, and again the eyes are looking great, but then the addition of all the highlights in the fur is really attention to detail. I love that, and it just looks so fuzzy, like you could go and scrunch all his head. So totally love him. As I say, I would really love. I have my head scratching. Does that come over on the mic? I just realised how revolting that probably sounds. Anyway, I would love to be able to make something that well, and I really am going to have to challenge myself. This year I'm planning on trying to do some more 2D dogs, because I would like to get the hang of all these highlights and, you know, the texture in the fur. And I think challenging yourself to these kind of things really helps all of your art. Like for a while I was working on really tiny miniatures, like a couple of centimeters size, because I felt if you could get character and detail in something that size, then it transpires when you make something bigger, it'll be even better. And I feel the same if I can understand the 2D a little bit more, the shadings and blendings of colours and everything, then it can't hurt with the 3D. Have we nosy? Ah yes, the felted soaps. I can go through. So soap and a pile of wool. I tried felted soaps ages ago. It is great fun. Has anyone else done these? It's actually so much fun to use as well, because the wool's a lovely natural fibre. It's not quite exfoliating, but it gives a nice feel to the soap, and it's like having a flannel and a soap all in one. But the other thing I found, as you keep using it, the soap is felting as you're using it, so it shrinks. The wool, did I say soap there? The wool is felting, so it shrinks down with the soap as you use it. They're pretty fun things, and just all the colours you can get with them. It's a really good afternoon's work to make some soaps. It's something I'll have to do again. I was actually trying too hard, and I was trying to like needle felt designs onto them, and some people do that. There's some beautiful work out there. Emails coming in. I was trying to be too intricate and make something all fancy, whereas I think just the colours, I'm not even a green fan, but these greens and yellows, I really like that one. I like them all, but that one's really catching my eye. So I think you could do much more just wonderful blends of colours, and that's like a great gift for anyone as well. They're totally unique, but I do love felted soaps. I don't nearly went scrolling past this cat head brooch. That is awesome, and so well felted by the looks of things, because that's my problem with brooches. Is I've done a few, but you always I feel you always have to felt them so well, because they're going to have a totally different kind of wear on them. So that looks really well felted. And cats are the most difficult. I hate making cats. It's the bane of my life. So that is a gorgeously made cat. What did you use for the whiskers there? Whiskers are something I've got to start using. I did get some horsehair a few years ago, but I've misplaced it in one of my tidying up fits. But So I've got to start using whiskers again, especially with cats. All cat people want the whiskers on their cats, and I totally understand. Especially you get like the tuxedo cats that have mainly black on their face but the white whiskers, and it's such a feature. And it's so hard to do when I'm making a sculpture that's that size, and they're like, no, but the whiskers aren't right. You're like, yeah, it's wool. So I need to think of some ways to make whiskers. I'm trying to figure out what those are, but they do look awesome. And Barb never seen felted soap. It's so cool, and I'm not going to say it's simple because there's a lot of work to it. That pile of soaps was a good good deal of work, but it's such a fun process because actual wet felting, which that is, it's not so much needle felting, it's wet felting, is actually one of the oldest forms of making fabric for humans. So you know, it's kind of weird that wet felting is one of the oldest forms and needle felting is one of the newer forms of artwork. So we kind of encompass all of human aging kind of thing. But yeah, the wet felting soaps, it's such a great fun, and I think it's something that you could do with kids and stuff because it's messy as anything. You're soap and water and a bit of wool. It's messy but great fun. I just don't really have room in my house. I tried doing some flat wet felting, what they call nunu felting, which is really fine pieces over like a fabric like silk or muslin, and you can felt this fine stuff that kind of shrinks up and makes a textured effect, and it is fun. But I can't, there's people that make like full cloaks in it, and it gets so heavy because literally you're flooding it with water and soap, and then you've got to roll it up and everything and really agitate it to get all the fibers to stick together. And these women must be butch, they must be strong, because I was struggling with little pieces. It's fishing line for the whiskers. That's a good idea. I might have to get some, because I think I was always, until last year, I was completely against using any glue on any of my pieces, so I was really worried about how to attach the whiskers. But now I'm using the paver pole, which literally, because I work from my sofa, it's sitting here next to me. I use the paver pole to glue in the cheap eyes, and I've been happy that, I don't even know if this will show up, I've always got the pieces I'm working on by me, but it glues in the eyes with no, you can't see any evidence of the glue. So I think I'm going to be brave and actually try it with whiskers. So I've got to go shopping for fishing line. But thank you so much for that. And yet that is an awesome piece. Let's have a nosy. Ah, here we go. This is the TARDIS, the TARDIS and the new Doctor. And I think just the detail that you've captured in there is fantastic. The wee braces and the little rainbow top and everything too. And I hadn't seen that one, The Last Doctor and His Companion. That is awesome. You've put so much work into the outfits. That is so much fun. I love that. And you can see his wee waistcoat poking up under there. And the ripped jeans, so clever. This is great fun. Ooh, corset brooch. I did a corseted little doll a while back. That's fun to do. I have to admit, the corseted shape's kind of fun to felt, but that's cool. And I love all the beadwork and the stitching, the embroidery. I do know the fancy word for things. Oh, cool. So you do what do we call it? Felt, well, other types of felt work, but that's really cool. Oh, I'd seen the mouse, but not in his outfit. That's a bunch of fun. He is brilliant. I love his little judo outfit, black belt. Now I'm scared. He's badass. That is so good. Yeah, your details for a true geek, and there's nothing wrong with that. We're all geeks. Oh, and there's the original picture of the wee dog. Is it? That's perfect. Is this you here? I don't want to be showing pictures of random pictures of people. But, well, if it is, it's good to see you. And we'll just pop into these next. Oh, Barb, thank you. Yeah, there is so much fun stuff to look at. I have the links to Bad Wolf and Tuckamoor that I'll be going into in a minute. I'll have to put up Michaela's link. I don't think I put that in the description yet, but the others are in there. But yeah, there's so much fun stuff to be having a look at. I love doing this myself. I mean, it's not like, I don't know, there's some crafters and artists that almost feel like you shouldn't talk about, you know, they're the only one that can do this kind of thing. But I love needle felting. It's such a such a nice community that everyone is supportive of everyone else. I mean, all the time I've been doing this, people have been so helpful and so supportive, and I've learnt so much from other needle felters. They're all so generous. And I love to see everyone else's work. I mean, you know, you've got people like Michaela that I know there's never a chance I'm going to be as good as that. And then there's other people that work that just makes me so happy to see. It's just such full of fun and joy. And it's great is we can make things that are almost lifelike. Well, not even almost. We can make things that are lifelike out of the felt, and we can also make cartoons pretty much, and I love everything in between, and I love that. So it's great to have this kind of community. And the stuff in a teacup. I've meant to do this. I should get hold of some teacup. Well, I say I should get hold of some teacups. We've actually got a whole ton of my grand's teacups, but these were her prized possessions, and I don't feel like I want to felt into them. But tea sets and everything are just, they don't have the value nowadays. People don't want them, so you've got lots of beautiful stuff out there that nobody's wanting, so you can do these fun felt pieces. And I love in this Christmas theme, this winter theme. I think it's a great use for them. I don't like, I know they look kind of good, but I know there's people who like drill into them and make lamps and things, which is kind of cool, but it's a bit destructive. Whereas with the felt, the teacup's still there. But yeah, they're fun. Ah, yes, I remember seeing this dog before. He's fantastic. The pose is just so perfect. One thing I really find difficult is getting them to look like they're on the floor, if you know what I mean. It's like bits of legs can, because it's so light, things cannot be touching in the right place. So these kind of poses can be tricky, and he just looks like he's sitting there perfectly. I don't know what he was doing, but you've kind of startled him and he's looked round. And yes, that was you. So yeah, really good to see you. Always nice to see people, but I don't want to be putting up. So that is one thing I will say. If you have put up your shop for, not your shop, if you have put up your page for a review, obviously make sure the pictures are okay for me to be putting out on the internet. I don't want to be disappointing people with seeing things. You know, it's like, oh, you were showing pictures of my kids, which I have no intention of doing. Right, one last wee look down here. Oh, mermaids. I've never felted a mermaid yet. I don't know why not. And I've probably missed the boat because I think mermaids and unicorns were last year, weren't they? Well, I suppose they always will be for little girls. But she's lovely. And the beadwork just so works. There's like little bubbles on her tail and on her chest there. That's really dreamy. So thank you so much for letting me have a wee look at your shop. That was really cool. And yeah, links are down below, so everyone get over and have a proper nosy at our shop. There's yeah, great step by step of how that little dog came about, and loads of stuff in there. I could spend all day looking at it, but we've been going an hour and I better get on to Tuckamoor because I did promise. So let's have a wee look here and dive straight into photos so we're not looking at anything we shouldn't. And Tuckamoor this is just the way it worked out with where everyone's postings happened, because I'm just working through the requests on the Facebook group in the order I get them. So yes, Tuckamoor is the shop I looked at last week to give the whole in-depth review of the shop, so it's kind of cool that we're getting to nosy around her photos today. Mac, you're not out of place joining in at all. No, no. I love any sorts of arts and crafts anyway, but also I hopefully see myself as a crafty entrepreneur. So anyone, I'm totally geeky into the whole SEO of selling online and stuff, into this whole YouTube nonsense as well. And anyone's art and craft, you're completely welcome. It's just the craft that I do in the main is needle felting, so that's the tutorials that I make the most of, but I'm also looking at, you know, craft supplies and everything, and any kind of crossover things. But I love other people's work as well, and you know, recycled inner tubes sounds fantastic. You know, all these things sound really fantastic to me, and you know, we're all crafty people, so you're more than welcome. Right, so Tuckamoor, let's have a nosy. As I say, we saw some of her work in her shop last week, but it's really cool to get a proper wee nosy. And these are the Aurora Borealis ptarmigans, and I think this is such a novel thing. I'd say I love the Aurora Borealis. I really want to see it, and most of the time on my computer I have the Aurora alerts up and ready to go, and I've been dashing out of the house at like midnight, grabbing the dogs and dashing up to the hills and looking for this, and never been able to find it. I think one of the worst ones, I was out in the pitch black driving around because it was supposed to be really high on the sun activity. And then when I got home, one of my mates that lives about 2 miles from me, but she's in a farm in the country, she'd just posted on Facebook that she was sitting at her back door watching the Aurora Borealis. And I was raging. I'd driven in the totally wrong direction and I just hadn't seen it, and I could have just driven to her house and there it was. Oh, no problem at all sharing your page. I thank you for letting me. I really love seeing everyone's work. It's great to have a poke through. The only problem with seeing everyone's work is I try and not be too inspired by it. I look at things and go, oh, I'd love a shot at doing that. But I absolutely am not going to copy anyone's work, and you would totally know if I did because it's here on the internet. But yeah, it's really hard not to be overly inspired and have a go at things. But apart from that, it's lovely seeing it, and your work was great fun. Yeah, so the ptarmigans. And yeah, I saw this picture as well. I think this is gorgeous. It looks like a mix. No, it is probably just needle felted. I wondered if there was some stitch in there, but I think it's just cleverly needle felted butterfly, which is lovely against probably a wet felted piece. Very lovely. Pull up coral for yeah, Barb, if what you do, the problem is this chat goes away when I've finished the live stream, so if you just post on one of my other videos or wherever you saw this, just that coral from the sea, and because I'll probably forget because my memory's shocking, if you just post that term that I've got to search for, I'll go and have a look once I'm done here. Okay, thank you for that. Oh, here's a little selection of birds. Is that not the most fun selection? I'm loving, and again, like I say, everyone's work's also different. It's like if 10 of us decided to make a whole selection of birds, none of them would look like that. They would all be completely different and all cute and lovely, all in their own right. And I think these are absolutely adorable. I especially like the puffin. I'm wondering if that's some kind of clay or plastic beak. It's definitely not felted. But yeah, very sweet. And I saw this in her shop as her profile picture. I absolutely love this. This is stunning. I mean, purple is my favourite colour, so anything with purples in it I'm gonna love. But there's such a lot of drama and movement in that, and then the black of the trees, and yeah, I can't even imagine how she did all of that. That is such detailed work for wool. Really pretty. And puppies. Always happy to see other people's dogs, so that's a handy one to have in there. Okay, so I'm making sales in January. I've got to find a way to switch off my emails popping up when I'm talking to you guys. Sorry about that. It's kind of cool, but sorry about that. Oh, here's another. Love that as well. We've got the sea, but it's the sky that just completely catches the eye. I'm loving the sky with these pine trees silhouetted. That is so pretty. Ah, butterfly. This is some. I've been planning to have a go at making a butterfly at some stage, because I think that is going to be a really great project for any needle felter, probably for whatever art form you're in. But I think all the detailed lines and the blends of colours and everything, I think it might be a really cool project to really sort of help your skill level along. So I'm going to have a try at a butterfly at some point. So really cool seeing one there, and it is lovely detail and everything. That is so pretty. Right, so add to the list, do a butterfly. See, inspired. Oh, I love this. I hadn't seen this before. Dragonfly and the moon. What we seen, having a look. We're Stardust, she's called that. Oh, it's like it's a lovely name as well. That is beautiful. So is anyone spotting anything that's catching their eye? Oh, here's the Stardust in progress. It's bigger than I thought, which is fantastic. I think that would look really stunning in real life. Never thought of doing a dragonfly. The wings would be a lovely challenge as well. I think in 3D the Angelina heat bondable fibre might be fantastic for that if anyone's used that in the past. It's great stuff. So Tuckamoor, I absolutely enjoyed looking in your shop last week. There was some fantastic stuff there. But I have to say, I am completely blown away by your paintings. These are just stunning works. I mean, the birds, don't get me wrong, the birds are beautiful and cute and the loveliest thing there. But I think the photos are just stunning. The wool paintings are just amazing. It's so hard to get it. Yeah, that dragonfly barb, it is stunning, isn't it? That's definitely something on the list I'm going to have to put for challenges. Excuse me. I should probably turn the mic off when I drink, shouldn't I? Professional. And here we have pincushions, which is another great idea. I thought of doing pincushions because, again, wool's a natural fibre. It's actually really good for a needle, so it's a great thing to have as pincushions. And that's a really nice, interesting effect on them. It looks kind of beachy, like pebbles you stick your pins in. And I don't know what you'd call a group of puffins. They are puffins, aren't they? But they are so cute. And yes, Mary, hi Mary. The wool paintings are amazing. I'm gonna have to up my game. Oh, here we go. Just as I said it, we hit another one. The raven. That is beautiful. Yes, that's completely different sort of style, but I love him as well. Is $100 a good price for a used felting machine? I honestly, I don't know for that Pander's puppets. I've never used a felting machine, and I don't really know how much they are new. Probably the best thing to do is just have a look online and see what prices other people are selling them for, what they're going for, because it's really, I have no idea. What kind of felting machine is this? Is this the scary pen thing that goes 100 miles an hour? I can't remember the name of the company. I'd heard about them a few years ago and everyone was going mental for them, and it just terrifies me. The idea that I could stab myself in the finger 60 times a second or something. But I know you also get the more 2D, the more flat ones as well. So I'm not sure what kind, but I'm sorry, I've not even looked into the prices for them because it terrifies me. I'm clumsy enough without a machine with a needle. I can't show you just now, but even sewing machines, I'm so technologically behind the times that my sewing machine is actually a treadle Singer sewing machine. It's not even electric. I work it with my feet. I am so clumsy. Oh, it's the ones like the sewing machine. They were pretty expensive. They're pretty expensive to buy. I am not sure at all. I would check on eBay and see what prices they've been selling for, because I'm not sure at all. But yeah, they're great for doing the 2D pictures. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know. I don't know the prices. I don't know the prices of them, but online I'll be able to help you better. A little run of ravens. I love the colours in them. I think somebody needs a little time out. But yeah, these ravens are so cute. I love the extra colour in them. That's so clever. And foxes, isn't that adorable? What colours? That is so much fun. Right, anyway, again, for Tuckamoor or Lewis, is it Lewis? Am I saying that wrong? But Tuckamoor, thank you so much for letting me look in your shop and letting me look at your Facebook group. Thank you everyone so much for joining me. This has been a blast. It's been such a good stream getting to talk to you all, getting to know you all. Barb, I will try and remember and look up your items. And anyone who's looking to join the group, I'll get on with that immediately, and I hope to see you all there. I should hopefully be back again next week, and I've got some exciting videos out for this week, so hopefully I'll see you with them as well. But thank you so much for joining me, and if you've got any questions or anything, pop them in the group and we'll try and sort everything out. But thank you so much for joining me.